the Houston Rockets should be taking James Harden to court because he has left the team in shambles. That's why it's not good to go over and beyond to please one player. He groped and moaned until they got rid of Kevin McHale. He groped and moaned they got rid of Michael Beasley. He groped and moaned they got rid of Capella. They got rid of Chris Paul. They got rid of Westbrook. They getting rid of the whole damn team to please James Harden. And after all of that, what does James Harden do? I want out of Houston. I don't want to talk. I don't want to come to practice. I just want out of Houston. When Houston has done everything that this man wanted. How James Harden convinced the Rockets to go along with this small ball idea is beyond me. But yet and still, the team did it for him. Now I must admit, James Harden is one good basketball shooting, heavy beard wearing joker. But the man refuses to give up the ball. People say, well, he has all these assists. Yes, but if you watch the game, when he's triple teamed and has no other choice but to pass the ball, then he will pass it. Luckily, the guys which make the shot, which gives him assist. But he will not give another guy the basketball to create their own shots like he does. Dribble, 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 juke, step, create my own shot. He won't pass me the ball and just immediately shoot the ball. The Rockets did that for him. As much as I don't like Dwight Howard with his antics, he did land on with the Lakers and got him a ring, even though I do consider this season to be a scab season, but he did get a ring. But when it comes to James Harden, all we get are dreams. And now, after it's all said and done, he just wants out of Houston. Well, to all the other teams out there that may be considering adding James Harden to their team, you better watch and see what he did while he was here in Houston. Oh, yeah, lights out during the regular season. Comes time for the playoffs, James Harden is a consistent no-show, not just in Houston, but in Oklahoma as well. James Harden loves to control the ball, but James Harden cannot beat the press. He gets raped every time. And what killed me with James Harden is when he let old man Ginobili block his shot. James Harden seriously reminds me of Charles Barkley when we had him. You know, Charles Barkley was a good player, but he wasn't a player that he was in Philly. And he dribbled all the doggone time and want to pass the ball with 2 seconds left on the clock. Just the same things James Harden does. And just like Charles Barkley, James Harden is not coachable. No coach has been able to get to this guy's, hey, it will be better if you would play off the ball. Let the point guards handle the ball, get penetration. When they get double teamed, you're wide open for a 3-point shot. He doesn't want to play the game. He wants to have the ball to hide his weaknesses. And the main weakness that John has on the basketball court is this guy cannot handle the press. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing I've noticed, what I feel about James Harden is that he's a powder. He can play better. But because he has all this power on the team, he can play when he wants to, how he wants to. And no one can get rid of him because he's James Harden. One thing James Harden is going to have to learn is what Dwight Howard learned. It's not all about you. You have to be a team player. And to Tim Fertitta, James Harden just played you. Had you over a barrel, giving him all this money, now he's ready to leave the team. You should not have gotten rid of Michael Beasley. You shouldn't have gotten rid of Kevin McHale. You shouldn't have gotten rid of Capella. You shouldn't have gotten rid of Chris Paul, which in my opinion is the best point guard that you guys will ever have. To be honest with you, I'd much rather have a guy like Westbrook on the team, at least he's going to hustle. He's going to give it his all every game, no matter who's in the game. But James Harden, you put a player in there that can challenge James Harden on his own team, that can score just as much as he can. Watch out, James Harden pout, lagging behind, is uninterested in the game. This is what he does. The Houston Rockets, y'all should take James Harden to court. The Rockets should find some type of way to get Michael Beasley and Chris Paul and Capella back on the team. We'll make a lot further without James Harden. Because as great as James Harden claims to be, what happened when we had Chris Paul? Chris Paul got hurt. We got James Harden. Nope, we need Chris Paul. But I thought you was a great scoring champion, James Harden. Although those scoring feats by James Harden, scoring 50, 60 points, looks good. But it's a bad look for the rest of the team. Because the rest of the team is doing nothing. If James Harden is scoring 60 points, at the end of the night, all the Rockets have is 80 points, what the hell the rest of the team did? 20 points? That's all? If the Rockets are seriously contemplating trading James Harden, get something for the man. Don't get nothing for some damn draft picks or some guys that you don't know are going to pan out or not. Get something for him now. I mean, there's not too many players in the NBA who I would consider trading for James Harden. The only two players I really would consider doing that for is Kevin Durant or Zion Williams. Other than that, the rest of them guys, I wouldn't do it. Because I know that James Harden, he's the best scorer I've seen. This guy can shoot. I know he can shoot. But James Harden has an attitude problem. Somebody to take James Harden in that locker room and rough him up a little bit. Get him to understand that, man, you're going to play as a team. They're letting James Harden have his way too much. And we need a Vernon Maxwell, somebody like that on his team, to, like I say, to whisper in his ear. I really think that's why he really wants to get rid of Westbrook, because I think Westbrook kind of called him out. And I think Westbrook will be one of those guys to check James Harden, just like Chris Paul was. And as I said, if any other team is contemplating adding James Harden to their team, you better look at his resume. He's a great scorer in the regular season. Comes time for the playoffs, he wants to go to the clubs every night. He wants to get drunk every night and show up at the game tired, can't even play. Let the oldest guy on the team steal the ball from him. If I was part of the owners of the NBA, I would, hey, y'all should link up together and ban James Harden. Let him go to China or overseas. See how he likes that. But please stop giving in to the cries and the moans and groans of James Harden. Whoever that guy was a few years back that put some kind of curse on James Harden, I hope it don't stop when he leaves Houston. I hope it continues on to the next team he goes to. But all in all, I am really glad to see this small ball leave Houston, Texas. To be honest with you right now, all sports has been turned to nothing but trash due to the COVID-19 and social distancing. People can't attend the games. It's just, hey, it's a sad thing to watch. That's why really when I think of this, it's not going to be that bad on us if we get rid of James Harden, because to me, the NBA is going to be trash for the next maybe 2 or 3 years anyway. Hopefully when this coronavirus stuff is all over. So although James Harden is a great scorer, he doesn't put the ball in the basket when he really, really needs to in the playoffs. And that is if it happens. I just really hope that the teammates will give James Harden a party before he leaves. A blanket party. And I'm really hoping that, I don't know about this guy Fertitta, but I'm just hoping that whoever will obtain these sports teams in Houston in the future will have some type of sports knowledge and will not let some one person destroy the whole damn team. So I'm hoping that the Rockets will take James Harden to court. I'm quite sure that you have friends down in the court system that will pull a few strings for you. Get some of this money back that James Harden robbed you of. Whichever team James Harden ends up with. When he comes to Houston, you know what you got to do. Press, press, press. Make him cough up the ball. Don't give him the opportunity to beat his chest when he returns to Houston. Mr. Harden, the fans are starting to say that in the regular season, you are tough as concrete. But in the playoffs, you're soft and wet toilet tissue. What do you have to say to that, Mr. Harden?